$986 billion and why the United States is in trouble. I have all the details and what you need to know right here in the video, so let's get right into it. Alright, now in this video, I do want to share with you the details of a new report that was just released with some staggering numbers showing the financial situations of the vast majority of Americans here in this country, and we have a major problem on our hands, which is exactly what I'll lay out for you here in this video and what is detailed within this report. So there's a lot to talk about. Let's get into it and discuss all these details. However, really fast before we do, thank you so much for joining me. If you're new here or if you haven't done so yet, please make sure to subscribe by hitting the button right down below the video, as we are rapidly approaching 500,000 subscribers right here on the channel, which is absolutely amazing, and it would mean so much to me if you hit that subscribe button down below, as it is my dedication, my commitment, and my promise to you and everybody right here in the community to continuously be here right by your side each and every day, watching all this new information hitting the wire, doing the necessary research, and breaking it all down into these short videos, as it's a very confusing, it's a busy, and it's a very uncertain time that we are currently living through, and I truly want to help you out in any way that I possibly can. So again, please make sure to subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet. Thank you so much. I truly do appreciate your support, and let's get into it and talk about the details out of this report and the massive numbers. All right, so this report actually does have a lot of numbers within it. I'm going to buzz through all of these, so hopefully you can stick with me on this, but you'll clearly see here what is going on with the finances of the average American out there right now and how we have a major problem on our hands. All right, so here's what the report is showing. Just in the last few months here, credit card debt has ballooned to $986 billion right here in the United States. In fact, over the previous quarter, credit card debt increased by $61 billion. That's over $20 billion a month. That's crazy. That is in a single quarter alone. Now get this, the last high, as in the last record of credit card debt that we ever saw in this country, was prior to 2020 at $927 billion. So we're above that by almost $60 billion alone. It's a lot, right? So we can clearly see here the vast majority of Americans are floating a lot more credit card debt, as in, balances on our credit cards, simply because nobody has any money, right? We've talked about this before. Nobody has any money. That's why we're seeing these numbers. So this is not all that shocking. Even though these numbers are huge, it's not that shocking at the same time, because we've seen nobody has any money, like virtually nobody, right? Maybe a very small percentage of people, but it's not that many people. Well, the report also goes on to show that here in the United States, total consumer debt, as in all debts across all consumers, as in credit card debt, auto loans, mortgages, student loans, all kinds of stuff like this. Collectively, we have $16.9 trillion in debt here in this country. Now, this is not national debt, as in federal debt. This is consumer debt. We, the American people, have just under $17 trillion in debt alone. Again, that is a ton of money. In fact, this also went up by 2.4% over the previous quarter. Again, that's a lot. So we increased our consumer debt by 2.4% in a single quarter. That is a lot. And again, a very scary number, right? So the numbers continue. There's a lot more numbers here that I want to talk about. Here's what else is very interesting about this. They also found that the average credit card interest rate as of right now is 19.14%. However, get this, a year ago, it was at 16.3%. So just in about a year's time, the average interest rate on a credit card has gone up almost 3%. Now, do you think that's going to make it a little bit more difficult for people to maybe pay their balances off when they're floating a balance? Yeah, of course it is. A 3% increase, or actually just under a 3% increase on credit cards just in a 1 year period of time. We're not talking like 5 years. This is 1 year. In one single year, the interest rate has gone up almost 3% on credit cards. That's a lot, right? So now get this. If the average person had $5,000 in credit card debt, now that's not the average, but I'm just saying, if the average person had $5,000 in credit card debt as of right now, it would take 191 months to pay off that credit card debt, paying just the minimum balance, just the minimum payment each and every month because of the current interest rate, and that person would pay about $6,500 in interest just to pay off that $5,000. Crazy, right? That's a huge difference. So these are some massive numbers. Now, the report also goes on to show that as of right now, 18.3 million people are behind on their credit cards, whereas just a year ago, 15.8 million people were behind on their credit cards. So what is the math on that? 2.5 million people more? I believe that's right. 2.5 million more people are behind on their credit cards today than what they were a year ago. Again, do you see some major red flags here? I mean, everybody sees the red flags, right? I don't know how you couldn't see red flags with this. Credit card debt is rapidly rising at a rate of about $20 billion per month, like I mentioned earlier. Interest rates continue to rise about 3% on a year-over-year basis. We can clearly see all of these numbers here. Consumer debt is increasing at a pace of about 2.4% on a quarter-over-quarter basis. Again, these numbers are not sustainable. In fact, the reason that I want to point this out as well, Janet Yellen, the Treasury Secretary, she was just out a few days ago suggesting that that high levels of debt is completely unsustainable. Well, I'm not really sure what else to say about this. This would happen to be a high level of debt. In fact, the debt that we are currently seeing right now in this country is the highest debt we've ever seen. This is the highest amount of consumer debt. The $16.9 trillion is the most consumer debt we've ever seen in the United States, ever in the history of this country. Not only that, credit card debt, like I said, just a hair under $1 trillion. We're $14 billion under $1 trillion of credit card debt. Well, guess what? In the next 3 weeks, we're going to be there. You know what I mean? In the next 3 weeks alone, we're going to be at $1 trillion of credit card debt in this country, okay? Because at the pace that we're moving, $20 billion a month of credit card debt that we're adding, we're only $14 billion away. So that would say that in 3 weeks' time, we will be exactly at that $1 trillion mark, right? We're doing about, what is that, $5 billion a week of credit card debt? It's crazy when you think about it that way, right? $5 billion a week. How fun would that be? You know what I mean? You have a credit card that has an unlimited credit line, and you just say, I'm going to go spend $5 billion this week. How cool would that be? It'd be cool. Would not be cool paying it off. You know what I mean? That would not be cool paying it off. But it would be certainly fun doing it. You know what I mean? I'm not even sure what we'd buy for $5 billion. It'd be crazy. You could buy anything you could ever dream of. They're pretty much, you know what I mean? That's a lot of money. I think most people don't even realize how much money that is until you start to try to spend it, right? And then you're like, oh my, spending 100 here and 100 there is not going to cut it. You got to spend like 10 million here and 10 million there. And maybe you'll get close after a little bit of time. But that's a crazy amount of money, right? Anyway, the whole point behind all of this is, what does all of this mean here going forward? It clearly paints a very clear picture. The picture is nobody has any money. A lot of empty pockets, a lot of empty bank accounts, and a lot of people that are struggling right now, because if we didn't see people out there struggling right now, we wouldn't see credit card balances increasing so dramatically. We're seeing credit card balances increasing so dramatically and so fast right now is because people don't have money in savings or in a checking account, or incomes are not keeping up. Therefore, people are floating balances on a credit card. Well, as a result of that, the vicious cycle begins, which is somebody doesn't have money, their income is not keeping up, they float a balance on a credit card, they have the great intention to pay that thing off as quickly as possible. Unfortunately, with the high interest rate of over 19% on average right now, that means that it's going to take that person a very long time to pay that balance off. Unfortunately, they get behind because interest gets ahead of them, their income does not keep up, they float more balances on credit cards, and the vicious cycle continues on and on and on, and it takes years to get out of it, right? So you see the situation here. This is very clearly what is being painted right now. Anyway, this is not something that just came up overnight. This is something that's been going on for a while now, but we can clearly see what is going on here and this report that is being released. So some crazy stuff. Either way, I want to bring this to your to your attention so you can see what's going on here, as this is, you know, some shocking numbers, and this is a little bit alarming. But either way, we got to stay in tune with what is actually going on, because this is us. This picture is being painted on us, right? We are the ones being shown in the picture here. So we probably want to know what's going on, right? Anyway, I'm here for you as much as I can be. Please make sure to subscribe down below. Totally free to do so. I'll continue doing all this research and finding any relevant information that's out there right now and bringing it to your attention in these videos. So again, thanks so much for joining me. Please subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet. Share the video with your friends, family, social media, and go back and check out any of the other thousands of videos here on the channel. Until next time, enjoy your day. Have a good one. Take care, and catch you again later in the next